Today, McDonald's is everywhere. You see the golden arches on highways, in airports, in city centers, and sometimes even in places where you least expect them. Millions of people eat at McDonald's every day. The company serves billions of burgers every year, and its brand is one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. But the story of McDonald's didn't begin as a giant global empire. It started with a small restaurant run by two brothers who were simply trying to make food faster. And in the process, they accidentally changed the entire restaurant industry. The story begins in the 1930s with two brothers named Richard and Maurice McDonald. Most people called them Dick and Mac. They were born in New Hampshire, but later moved to California, looking for new opportunities. Like many people during that time, they were trying to build a business during the difficult years of the Great Depression. In 1940, the brothers opened a small drive-in restaurant in San Bernardino, California. At that time, drive-in restaurants were very popular in the United States. Customers would drive up, park their cars, and wait for servers called car hops to bring food directly to their vehicles. The McDonald brothers served a large menu: barbecue, sandwiches, milkshakes, and many other items. The restaurant did well, but the brothers noticed something interesting. Most of their profits came from just a few items, especially one thing: hamburgers. So the brothers decided to try something radical. Instead of offering dozens of menu items like other restaurants, they simplified everything. In 1948, they shut down the restaurant temporarily and completely redesigned their business. When they reopened, the menu was drastically smaller. No more barbecue, no more complicated dishes. Just a few core items: hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, milkshakes, and soft drinks. That was it. At first glance, it might have looked like they were limiting themselves, but the real change was happening behind the counter. The McDonald brothers developed a system they called the Speedy Service System. Instead of cooking food slowly when customers ordered it, they prepared ingredients in advance and organized the kitchen like an assembly line. Each worker had one specific task. One person grilled the burgers, another added toppings, another wrapped the food. This method was inspired by manufacturing assembly lines used in factories, and it worked brilliantly. Orders could be prepared in seconds instead of minutes. Customers didn't have to wait long. Prices stayed low. And the restaurant could serve far more people than traditional diners. It was fast food before the term fast food even existed. The new system made the restaurant extremely efficient. Hamburgers cost only 15 cents, which was cheaper than many competitors. Families loved the low prices. Teenagers loved the quick service. And the restaurant quickly became very popular in the area. But even though the McDonald brothers had created something revolutionary, they weren't particularly interested in building a giant franchise empire. They opened a few additional locations, but they preferred to keep the business small and manageable. What they didn't realize was that someone else was about to see the enormous potential in their idea. A man who believed McDonald's could become something much bigger. His name was Ray Kroc, and his arrival would completely change the future of the company. In the early 1950s, the McDonald brothers were running their efficient little restaurant in San Bernardino. The system worked beautifully. Customers got their food quickly. The menu was simple, and the prices were low. The restaurant was making good money. But outside of California, almost nobody knew about it. That might have remained the case if it weren't for a man named Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc was a traveling salesman in his early 50s. His job was selling milkshake machines called multi-mixers. These machines could make several milkshakes at once, and Kroc spent his days traveling across the United States trying to convince restaurants to buy them. One day, he received a very unusual order. A small restaurant in California had ordered 8 multi-mixers. That immediately caught his attention. Most restaurants only needed 1 or 2 machines. 8 meant this place must be selling an incredible number of milkshakes. Curious, Kroc decided to visit the restaurant himself. When Ray Kroc arrived at the McDonald Brothers restaurant in 1954, he was amazed by what he saw. Customers lined up outside the building. Food came out of the kitchen incredibly fast. The menu was simple, the prices were cheap, and the system worked with almost perfect efficiency. Kroc immediately realized something the McDonald brothers hadn't fully pursued. This restaurant wasn't just a good local business. It was a perfect model for franchising. If the same system could be copied across the country, thousands of identical restaurants could operate using the same method. Ray Kroc saw the future of fast food standing right in front of him. Kroc approached the McDonald brothers with a proposal. He wanted to expand their restaurant concept by selling franchises across the United States. The brothers agreed to let him handle franchising while they continued running their original location. So, in 1955, Ray Kroc opened the first official McDonald's franchise under his expansion plan in Des Plaines, Illinois. This location looked very similar to the California restaurant, but Kroc focused heavily on maintaining strict standards. Every restaurant had to follow the same system, the same menu, the same preparation methods, the same quality. Consistency became one of the most important parts of the McDonald's strategy. Customers knew that no matter which McDonald's they visited, they would receive the same food. Around this time, another symbol of the brand began appearing, the golden arches. Originally, the arches were part of the restaurant's building design, but they quickly became a recognizable visual symbol. Eventually, the arches were combined into the famous M shape that represents McDonald's today. That logo would go on to become one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. You can spot it from a highway miles away. And when people see those arches, they instantly know what kind of food they'll find inside. Ray Kroc pushed expansion aggressively. More franchises opened across the United States. New locations appeared in cities, suburbs, and near highways. Families loved the predictable menu and affordable prices. Children loved the burgers and fries, and busy Americans loved how quickly they could get their meals. By the early 1960s, McDonald's had become one of the fastest-growing restaurant chains in the country. Eventually, Ray Kroc bought out the McDonald brothers entirely, gaining full control of the company. From that point forward, he focused on turning McDonald's into something even bigger. Not just a national brand, but a global one. And the next phase of the story would take those golden arches all over the world. By the early 1960s, Ray Kroc had taken control of McDonald's and was pushing the company to grow faster than ever. New restaurants were opening across the United States, and the golden arches were becoming a familiar sight along highways and in growing suburban neighborhoods. But expansion alone was not enough. If McDonald's wanted to become something truly huge, it needed to build a brand people would remember. One of the ways the company did this was through clever menu innovations. In the early years, the menu was still simple burgers, fries, and milkshakes. But over time, new items were added that would eventually become famous. One example is the Filet-O-Fish, introduced in the early 1960s. The idea came from a McDonald's franchise owner in Cincinnati who noticed that many of his customers avoided eating meat on Fridays for religious reasons. He proposed creating a fish sandwich so those customers would still visit the restaurant. The sandwich became successful and soon spread to other McDonald's locations. Another iconic item appeared later, the Big Mac. Created by a franchise owner named Jim Delegati, the Big Mac featured 2 beef patties, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a special sauce on a 3-part sesame seed bun. When it launched nationally in the late 1960s, it quickly became one of McDonald's most recognizable products. Around the same time, McDonald's began focusing heavily on families and children. The company introduced a friendly mascot called Ronald McDonald, a colorful clown character designed to appeal to younger customers. Ronald appeared in television commercials, at community events, and inside many McDonald's restaurants. For children growing up in the 1970s and 1980s, Ronald McDonald became almost as recognizable as the Golden Arches themselves. Another major innovation arrived in the late 1970s with the Happy Meal. The idea was simple but powerful. A small meal designed especially for children, packaged in a colorful box and often including a toy. It turned dining at McDonald's into a fun experience for kids and helped make the restaurant a popular destination for families. While the menu and marketing were evolving, McDonald's was also beginning to expand internationally. The first restaurants outside the United States opened in places like Canada and Puerto Rico. Soon after, McDonald's appeared in Europe, Asia, and other regions of the world. Each new country brought different challenges. Tastes, cultural habits, and food preferences varied widely. In some places, beef consumption was low or restricted. In others, local flavors were very different from American ones. McDonald's adapted by adjusting its menu. In India, for example, the company introduced chicken and vegetarian options instead of traditional beef burgers. In Japan, unique menu items appeared that matched local tastes. This ability to adapt while still keeping the core McDonald's experience consistent helped the company succeed across cultures. By the end of the 20th century, McDonald's had become far more than a burger restaurant. It was a global symbol of fast food and modern consumer culture. The Golden Arches could be seen in cities all around the world, and millions of customers visited the restaurants every day. But success also brought new challenges. Critics began questioning fast food's impact on health, nutrition, and the environment. Competitors appeared offering different styles of fast dining. And the company had to continue evolving to stay relevant in a changing world. Those challenges would shape the next chapter of McDonald's story. By the late 20th century, McDonald's had grown into a global powerhouse. Thousands of restaurants were operating across dozens of countries, and millions of people were eating McDonald's every single day. The Golden Arches had become one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. But with that level of success came something else: attention, criticism, and new challenges. As fast food became more common, many health experts began raising concerns about diet and nutrition. Critics argued that meals high in calories, salt, and fat were contributing to health problems like obesity and heart disease. McDonald's found itself at the center of this debate because it was the largest fast food chain on the planet. Documentaries, books, and news reports began discussing the impact of fast food on modern lifestyles. The company realized it needed to respond to these changing attitudes. Over time, McDonald's began adjusting its menu. Salads, fruit options, and lighter meals were introduced to give customers more choices. Nutritional information became easier to access, allowing people to understand exactly what they were eating. While burgers and fries remained the core of the business, The company worked to show that it could evolve with changing expectations. Another major change came through restaurant design and customer experience. Earlier, McDonald's locations were simple and highly standardized. But modern restaurants began adopting updated interiors, digital ordering screens, and redesigned seating areas that felt more like casual dining spaces. The goal was to make McDonald's not just a quick stop for food, but also a comfortable place for families, students, and travelers. Technology also began transforming the company's operations. Self-order kiosks appeared in many restaurants, allowing customers to place their orders through touchscreens. Mobile apps made it possible to order ahead, earn rewards, and customize meals more easily. Delivery partnerships with services like Uber Eats and other platforms allowed customers to receive McDonald's food without leaving their homes. Behind the scenes, the company continued expanding globally. New restaurants opened in rapidly growing regions such as Asia, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East. Each location still followed the basic McDonald's model: fast service, consistent food, and recognizable branding. But menus were often adjusted to match local tastes. This balance between global consistency and local adaptation became one of the key reasons McDonald's succeeded in so many different countries. Today, McDonald's operates tens of thousands of restaurants around the world and serves an estimated tens of millions of customers every day. The company has become more than just a restaurant chain. It is a cultural icon, a business case study, and one of the most successful franchise systems ever created. Looking back at its history, the journey is remarkable. Two brothers in California created a faster way to serve hamburgers. A traveling salesman saw the potential to scale that system across the country. Through careful franchising, relentless branding, and constant adaptation, the idea grew from a single restaurant into a global phenomenon. The success of McDonald's shows how a simple concept, fast, affordable food served consistently, can transform an entire industry. And even after decades of growth, the Golden Arches continue to represent one of the most powerful brands in modern business.